If you've heard of a company called Beswin VR, it's either because they are stepping into the Quest 2 accessories realm, or because you've actually looked at HTC Vive controller guns, which are pretty crazy looking. Beswin is now getting into the Oculus Quest 2 game and doing some accessories. They are making a magnetic charging kit that actually works with their silicone covers. So if you feel like the controllers really need covers, but you also never want to have to swap out the batteries again, this is supposed to be the answer to that. Let's find out. $70 currently for this kit. Now keep in mind that includes your grips, your straps that hold them to your hands, which usually a set like this would probably cost you around 20 bucks. That's gonna include both your rechargeable batteries, the cord that's gonna charge them. Also, it's gotta include new door covers for your Quest 2 controllers. So $70 kind of sounds like a lot, but it is a lot of different pieces you're getting. Still a little tough when you can get something like the Anker charging stand that I use for like $110 and it charges the headset as well. But let's open it up and check it out. Have that small sharp unboxing knife. Don't want to hurt anybody in the room. I feel like I'm missing something. So we've got some Quest 2 doors. These are very obviously 3D printed. They actually say Beswin VR on them. You won't be able to see that, it's way too small print. But these are very obvious, they're kind of opaque. The color's not quite gonna match your controllers. We have the actual batteries that these charge through, and they are magnetic, so they just snap on, which is cool, but there's no cable. We have no cable to actually use these. So I'm gonna have to go contact Beswin and tell them that we don't have a complete setup to finish this review. So
2,000 years later.
Guess what came in? We got our charging cables that were missing from this kit that I think we opened like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So now it's time to actually finish this review and test these things out with the cables we need. I'm guessing if they had actually sent us the whole kit, you wouldn't get them in this packaging. This is probably where they're getting these from to use them. And because of that, I think we've ended up with some extras of the little magnetic charging tips. Let's get this thing figured out. One little problem I'm already gonna throw out there, I kinda hate that they send you 2 separate cables, because the other kits that I've tried like this, they'll use one USB plug and it'll split off to 2 cables, so then you only have to use one spot. Where with this one, you're gonna need to free up 2 USB ports or have a power brick with 2 separate USBs to use this. Let's try it out anyways. Now you need to take your stock batteries out. I'm actually taking out the batteries that come in the Anker charging dock. Those are some nice looking ones there. Those always recharge through the charging dock, and those just contact the sides of these. That is not what this one does. So this one is a different design. This one gives you these rechargeable USB port batteries here. It's actually USB-C. So you're gonna run these in here and make sure they face in such a way that that's sticking out. You're gonna take their 3D printed Beswin VR battery covers. There's actually a step there's another step I should be doing here. I'll show you that in a second though. And then from there, you're gonna need to kind of look through and figure out how you want to align this. It looks like we can actually plug this in here and then kind of put it maybe all the way to the back or maybe almost all the way back. And then that kind of lines up there to where when you want to go to charge this thing, this will just slap in there and snap right on. Pretty easily, pretty painlessly. That is nice. It's gonna change the grip and feel of your controller a little bit, because you might be able to see there, this is kind of a cheap 3D printed plastic. Feels a little different in the hand. You're not really gonna notice it, but it definitely feels a little less quality. Now, the step I was talking about that I was skipping there, you're actually gonna wanna get your straps on. So you're gonna wanna make sure you got the right controller here, you got the right strap, and the way these are gonna go in is there's a little knob on one side. That knob is gonna be facing the back of the controller. It's gonna be facing towards you. So this is gonna slip in there. This is gonna go in here. And then now you're gonna be ready to thread this through here and around. Before we do that, I actually think I want to feed these through. There's a lot of steps to this. But ideally, once you get this all done, you're never gonna have to take these off because you're never gonna change the batteries again. So in theory, this is a one-time do and it works out really well. So I put that in this way. On the other one, honestly, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna put the grips on first. This is now gonna cover the entire controller over. And if you're thinking, what? It's covering the tracking lights right now. There are holes in here where all the tracking lights are. So in theory, it should work. I am a little nervous because I've seen what some of these grips do before. If you squeeze them, sometimes they like to move and cause issues with that, but hopefully these ones won't be a problem. So now once you get that on there, you're gonna take this strap, run it through the inside, and then pull it back through here and get it as tight as you want it. So now you've got your index style grip with your grips on it, ready to charge at any time just by popping that in there. And then lastly, you have these. These are kind of optional at this point because you do have this holding on your hand, but if you want to use these, you're just going to thread this through the hole like that. Put this back through it just like a Wii controller from back in the day. And now we've got a wrist strap that then we can run this around our hand. Grip feels good. Silicone, I always like how silicone feels. I think it feels really nice. I am worried because it doesn't lock in place, as I was stating earlier, it might move around, but we'll find that out in testing. So let me get this other one put together. It does also come with some little jelly covers for the analog sticks, which I've tested. It still works if you put your finger on them or off. It still can sense your finger. I've already got this set on, which is identical, so I'm just gonna leave them for the time being. All right, the grips feel real good. I have to ask myself at this point, are they solving a problem that I'm not really sure anyone has? Basically, the difference between these and like the Anker charging dock that I'm currently using is that you can have these grips on. Not just any grips, it has to be these particular grips because they need to have the hole here so you can charge them. So if you're really someone who absolutely has to have grips, you might see this as a superior. It's also nice because you know that you'll have these index style grips. These aren't gonna get in the way, but if you have the charging dock, you could just use this part and it wouldn't get in the way. But yeah, you can't use it with grips like this on. So let's see how the charging works real quick. So once these are plugged in, we do get a nice blue light on here. One thing that's kind of unfortunate, it does not change the color of the light or anything. So we cannot tell from here that we are for sure charging our controller. Oh, okay, you kind of can. This is gonna be a tricky shot to get. Are you ready? There is a red light barely visible inside of there. There's your indicator light. There's no way you're gonna be able to see that from the outside. That is the only indicator that shows you if it's currently charging or not. So unfortunately, you're not gonna know. You're just gonna have to plug this thing in and trust that it's gonna do it. And frankly, these batteries, the way they optimize the Quest 2 controllers, they almost never die anyways. So like I was saying earlier, this is kind of a problem I don't really see people needing to solve that we're solving with these grips. So Beswin VR, $50 for this kit, and it is a good kit. It does everything it's intended to do. It gives you grips, it gives you straps that hold your controllers, it makes your controllers constantly rechargeable. The problem being that, like I said, this isn't really a problem that a lot of people are looking to solve currently. The main problem with the Quest 2 is the headset dies all the time. My controllers, my first set of batteries that came with it, they've lasted 4 months until I switched to the Anker charging dock. So your controllers dying on you all the time isn't really an issue like we had with the Quest 1. I think that a kit like this would be much more valuable for the Quest 1 or the Rift S, and I actually use one similar to this on my Rift S. The kit does exactly what it's intended to, and it's a good kit for that. I will leave a link in the description if for some reason you want it. The problem is you probably don't need it. You need something to make this battery last longer. And that's why with the Anker charging dock that I use, this always goes back in the dock, fully charges it. And if you want to check out that video, it is on the channel reviewing that entire dock because it is really sweet. Let me know what you think. Do you have Quest 2 controllers that die all the time on you? Do you just really want to have some chargeable controllers that have these nice grips on them that feel nice? I'd love to hear your thoughts in there because to me, I just don't see it. But hey, I could be wrong. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in another reality.
I want to say the biggest thank you to those of you who have become channel members and any of you who have ever been patrons of ours. Gallium VR, Chris Deputy, Legacy VR, Bagel, and a Fissy King Sloth are current channel members. Our patrons, K27, Rocket Sauce 28, K Panda K, Fred Nepatebo, Ege Karatosh, Maddie's, Gallium VR, Orange VR, and Mr. Dodojo. Thank you so much everyone for supporting the channel.